Good morning. I got the coffee on here for us. Grab a coffee yourself. Nice to have you here. I got some more music. This music's like one of my favorite channels. I get some links down in the description. Usually Kulu playing his guitar and his trumpet. Really love this stuff. How are you doing today? 63 days. We're on our countdown. We're heading toward the new year. We're stepping toward it a day at a time. Enjoying the fall. I've been walking around my neighborhood. I saw this beautiful tree yesterday. Just snapped a picture of it while I was walking my dog around. The changing seasons, so beautiful, so much appreciate the trees. Diving in, I titled this one, The Normal Way to Lose Weight. Normal in quotes. And a couple different ways I thought we could go with it today. So we'll dial in on that. Just thought I would throw it out. Everybody, I'm enjoy the community that we have here. Enjoy everybody coming through. Love the comments, questions that we get. Wanted to throw it out. If anybody interested, if you'd like to join me live, I did that last year. We had Gillian on, was great. If you don't want to connect live, also be interested in doing some interviews of folks, people hanging around the channel, help people get to know each other. We could just do a little offline interview and I could play it, so there's no pressure for anybody coming on live. But I think it could be fun, help everybody get to know each other, have some discussions. Can be specifically fasting focused. Love to connect and talk with people about, what has your experience been? Both any struggles that you are working through or overcome, and then places where if you found a place of ease and fluidity with it, just what your experience has been. So that's an open invitation. Diving in today, normal way to lose weight. Okay, so the first thing that I thought I would just talk about is just to note that, there's a discrepancy, I think. It's like, you say, everybody knows how to lose weight, right? It's normal. You ask people, how do you lose weight? Everybody, can give an answer to that. And so you say, the classic things that people will say, which are good things. Reduce calories coming in is a helpful concept, can be a helpful concept. Get more exercise, which of course I'm very supportive of. This is the normal sort of thing that people say. The discrepancy is between, what everybody knows and then the reality that people experience, which is the reality is very difficult to lose weight. And then it's even more difficult to maintain it in the long term, which is the thing that I'm most interested in helping people do. I'm most interested in helping people find a space of stability, sustainability. This is what we want. And so the normal way that people lose weight does not result in that. I've reviewed different, data series. There's a wide range in different population studies looking at the number of people that are maintaining weight loss in the long term. And the numbers range from 80% weight regain around 3 years, and then it kind of goes up from there. By 3 years, most people who've gone on a weight loss path have round-tripped back to where they started or gained beyond that. And of course, I'm not interested in having someone experience that. I've worked with lots of people who are 10 years in on a fasting practice, who have dialed in a very calm, thoughtful way, stable, slow and steady, who've been able to stick with that in the long term and has helped them, which I think is awesome. I think it's awesome. So to me, fasting is like the lens. It's like the filter that we take our health situation and we kind of bring that through a fasting lens, and that can really focus things. It's a very, very healthy, natural, normal process in the body. Get those autophagy pathways going. This is what we're trying to go through. So the normal experience we have, say like, well, can we expand that a little bit? Can we realize, okay, fasting, a normal thing for a human being to experience, bring health, renewal, and vitality to our body. This is very positive. We look at fasting, we say, oh, this is like different. People come to fast, they say, oh, that's kind of a different thing. Like, well, everybody fasting overnight, right? We all have space of some type. And just extending that a bit, realizing, okay, not normal to always be consuming, normal to have open space in the day. Body very strong, body has energy reserves. We want to give the body space to use that, and health can flourish in that space. So I thought today we do a little thinking of, okay, what is normal and how do we decide, like, what is normal? Different people look at the same situation. Seems normal to someone, does not seem normal to someone else. And so how does it come to be? I'm giving you my best thoughts as I'm reading through this book, Thinking Fast and Slow. And I've really enjoyed some of the insights from it. Is it helping you dial in on your thought process, on decision making? Like, how do you determine decisions that you make? And is it helping you get in a mindset of understanding how we change? Right? This is the thing I want to help people do. We're trying to, we're saying we're in our sailboat, right? We're sailing toward 2026. Letting the wind do the work, right? It's just blowing along. See, a sailboat, just in the ideal scenario, not in some crazy storm or something, but in a nice day for sailing, right? Sailboat not really doing the wind work. The wind is doing the work. Boat is carried along. That's how I want everybody going through a health space. Not struggling, not fighting in it. Letting it carry you along. That's a sustainable sort of mindset if you get in that sort of place. What if the wind is blowing? It's not quite in the direction we want, all right? We got to hit that rudder on the sailboat, little course correction. We use the wind, but then with the rudder, we steer in that direction. That's a change. That's something in our life. We say, okay, we're on a track. We're blowing in this direction. How do we move over this way? Well, when we're moving over this way, say, does it not feel normal anymore? That's kind of the barrier to change. And that's what this is going to get into today. So let me give you some of these reflections. The main function of System 1, remember in this book, the System 1 thinking, that's like the intuitive, the fast thinking that we're not really conscious of, just happens, feelings and emotions, it's just coming in there. And then we learned in the last session, okay, including an initial snap reaction of whether something's true or false. And we realize that can get just conflated with what's familiar to us. Things that are familiar seem true, even if they're not. The main function of System 1 is to maintain and update a model of our world which represents what is normal. The model is constructed by associations that link ideas of circumstances, events, actions, and outcomes that occur with some regularity. As these links are formed and strengthened, the pattern of associated ideas comes to represent the structure of the events in our life, and it determines our interpretation of the present as well as our expectations for the future. So you see that normal is a construct, right? Normal is based on our experience. Our whole mental framework is based on this collection of associations about what our history has been, what our experiences are, and that is allowing us to see and navigate the world, is creating a baseline, right? That's what normal is in our mind. We have kind of collective normal in society, this like culture, and then we have this representation of normal in our brain. And so what normal does to us, that's the next step out of what we were talking about yesterday. Things that are familiar, things that feel normal, feel true and feel like the right decision. And so that's why change is difficult. Do you see that? When change is difficult, now we're doing something new. New things aren't part of the construct that we're using to construct what's normal, so it feels abnormal. Things that are abnormal feel unfamiliar, and that's taking us out of that flow of cognitive ease we were talking yesterday. Things that are familiar, feel true, easy to flow through it. A very good process to be in. That's how, like we've said, fasting flow state. I want to help people get into a flow state where we're flowing through good experiences that are taking us toward our goal without a cognitive strain. That's the kind of environment we want to develop so that we can flow toward our direction without struggling. That's like the sailboat blowing us along. But we're not always in that state, right? It can be difficult to get into that state. It takes intentionality, takes thoughtfulness to do. And so now we're seeing the process. Course correct, move that rudder, putting us in a space, sending up little signals in the brain. Hey, this is not normal. We've talked in the past, okay, System 2 in this book, the conscious effort that can redirect and make informed decisions, not just snap reactions. Can mold and shape our understanding. We can reset what is normal. The process that we're trying to go through. Every day we're stepping, on a path toward 2026. Make the normal way to lose weight, what we see as normal, be our experience that we have thoughtfully created for ourselves. Okay, look at this picture. So take a look at this. Read the first square, read the second square, read the third square, and say, okay, what are you seeing? Little quiz, little test from this book, like they like to do. What do all those squares that you looked at, did you see, what do they have in common? Might be hard to see if you just looked at it. The answer they say in the book here is that they're all ambiguous. Most people read, and they've done studies on these college kids. They experiment on a lot of college kids. Here's the image coming back. Okay, people read this, ABC, and then Anne approached the bank, and then, either 12, 13, 14, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. Okay, but then when you really look at it, the B and the 13 are the same, right? So when you really look at it, it's ambiguous. Is it a B or is it a 13? If completely objective, without any context, could be either one. You could read that as A13C or 12B14, right? But the way our mind thinks, like you just see that initially, you just read straight through it. It can look normal. You say, oh, ABC, isn't it like normal, right? It's a B. So this is just a simple example. The shape is read as a letter in the context of letters, is read as a number in the context of numbers. The entire context determines the interpretation of each element. So it's simple when it's just, a little picture with, a single letter or a number, right? But this same effect is happening everywhere in our life, right? What we perceive as normal, what we perceive as happening, or what we say is true about a situation is shaped by the context of how we're experiencing it. This is why I say we want to be very thoughtful about creating our experience, about merging every good thing into our environment. So we're creating the environment that makes it natural and normal to flow through, like we would just read ABC. We want that to be the kind of ease that we flow through to make the health decisions that we want. Or do we struggle with snacking? Are we trying to open up a fasting space? Or we're trying to say, hey, when I get up, I go for a walk and I do this health practice. Or when I'm in the grocery store, I don't even walk down the aisle with like this stuff, So all these health decisions are so important in taking us in the right direction. Those decisions, just like we read an image like this, are taking place in a context. I want to shape the context so that the decision, just like is it a B or a 13, makes the most sense, interpreted as normal. That's the normal way to lose weight. That's what I'm saying here, is that we shape the environment and create the experience where the decisions that we make that will actually help us step toward our goal actually feel normal. Then there's this center in the middle with Anne. Most people who see that square imagine a woman with money on her mind walking toward a building with tellers and vaults. The most common interpretation, but the sentence is ambiguous. If you just went canoeing, right, then you'd see bank as like the riverbank. You say, oh, Anne is floating in the shore, right? So the sentence, but most people who read it don't think that there's any alternative. The system one thinking creates a story around experiences. This is the thing. Like, oh, you had Anne went to the bank. Anne approached the bank. You can see the woman walking toward the bank, right? System one can create a whole story for us around things without our even being aware of it. And these stories, right? The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. They shape the experience of what is normal. But a lot of times, is what this little exercise is showing, a lot of times these stories are not completely true, right? So you made up a little story in your mind. You saw the image here, and it just said Anne approached the bank. And so you see the story happening, right? It's like, but it, might not be real. It's ambiguous. How many times does that happen in your life? Are there stories about events or experiences that you have that you're telling yourself, like, oh, this is something I can't do? You know what I mean? Like, this is not the normal thing that I do. This is something I can't do. We construct barriers for ourselves of what is possible. And most of the time, those are just stories. They aren't necessarily true, and they probably aren't true if we open our mind to it. This is why normal, is so influenced by our environment. Why change can be so difficult, because we have to we interpret every new thing through the lens of all of our prior experiences and the context that they're in. This is why we had the people having the suggestion the other day, just change the furniture, change the furniture in your house. You're trying to change something else, change the furniture. It's changing the context. It's like breaking these associations that we have and being like, oh, this is like a new experience. It's like something new is happening here. Opens our mind. I really like it. I do. Hey, if this can change, why can't something else actually? It can. He concludes this section about Anne and the river, says that the most important aspect of this experiment is that a definite choice was made when you constructed your initial story, but you didn't know it. So many of these things happening unconsciously. There's unconscious thinking happening, shaping our environment. A couple other experiments he has here. I won't read through them all for you, but he just concludes this section by saying, the evidence is clear that people are more likely to be influenced by empty, persuasive messages, such as commercials, when they're tired and depleted. That hit me. That's the talk we did, the other day on building our mental capital. Right? We've got this limited pool of mental capital. We can't, be working the rudder all day long on everything, right? Or we wear out. So we want to be very intentional, very focused, recognize, okay, hey, I'm getting toward the end of my, tolerance here. Then we have to be extra gracious with ourselves, extra kind and patient, and realize, hey, and we need to do everything we can to build up that mental capital. That's a meditation practice and journaling. All these things feed together in cycles, right? As we're giving ourselves healthy nutrition to power the body, we're staying active and moving the body. Like all these things are building the mental capital that helps us in that situation, these critical moments in the day. Where it's like, especially like we had to work and do 20 other things. And it's like, okay, we're getting to that critical point, right? Where that influence is kicking in. This is how he says people really work. Says, contrary to the rules of philosophers of science who advise testing a hypothesis by trying to refute it, people and even scientists often simply seek data that are likely to be compatible with beliefs they already hold. And this is that system one at work, right? Because that's what feels normal. We don't like things that threaten, our understanding of normal. We try to say, oh, that's not true, right? We say information that doesn't mix with our current understanding, we tend to write it off. We tend to disregard it. We tend to stick with what feels normal and true. And that's what helps us keep the story, because a lot of what he's saying here, this system one, it's operating off of a story more than anything, not data or statistics. It's holding a story of the world is how we interpret things. A story of who we are, a story of what is normal. So we really want to change, right? We can change the story. We can change the story we're telling about ourselves. That's what I was talking about with this priming. We start changing the environment, changing our thinking, change our mind. And then we're able to flow through a space without struggling about it. Here's how he ends this section we're talking about. She knows nothing about this person's management skills. All she's going by is the halo effect from their good presentation. So that was one of the experiments that I didn't read through. Halo effect. We know something that we feel is good or true about some situation or person or thing, right? Creates a halo effect Whereas like everything else, we tend to see as good. We fit it into the story. It was where a lot of commercials, hit people, right? Food looks really good on TV, right? It creates a halo effect, right? Something is so easy to get, right? Easy to get, cognitive ease. I can just pull through the window at this restaurant and they give me this hot thing, so easy. It creates a halo effect for the whole thing. Must be good for me. Can't be too bad. Like, look how, it tastes good, It's like there's a halo effect. They made that big decision on the basis of a good report from one consultant. There's another concept from the chapter. What you see is all there is. Our model doesn't take into account things that we don't even know, right? So there's like more information than we know. We disregard it in our normal thinking. It doesn't even occur to us to say, oh, are other things true, right? We just focus on our own experience. They didn't want more information that might spoil their story. Yeah, that's how we get trapped in this illusion of normal. Yesterday, illusion of easy, I loved that. Illusion of easy is like things seem easy, but if they're taking us in the wrong direction, it's like the illusion of easy. It's not actually helping us get where we're trying to go. And that's not easy. That's actually really difficult, right? It's like being trapped in the matrix. Like you think, oh, everything's great. I'm going along. No, you're being controlled by like forces beyond your understanding, okay? So it's like sometimes the difficult path, actually not so bad, or actually is the thing that's taking you in the direction might be the easiest way to actually get where you're going, Say, oh, I'm trying to walk to Minneapolis. That's what I said. Trying to hike over to some other city, but we're walking in the wrong direction. You say, hey, this walk is easy. I'm just going along. Okay, but you're not moving toward the place you're trying to go. Is it really easy then? Like in the big experience, you're making it much more difficult, okay? So myth of easy, we got to really be thoughtful about things that are easy. And then myth of normal, right? The illusion of normal. It's like, oh, this is the way it's always been, therefore this is the way it should be, right? Well, I hope this session has helped you dial back on that and look and say, like, is this really normal? Is this the way things should be? Is my life, it feels normal to me because we've been on this path, but oh, this is the experience that I've had has just led to this place. We want to create that experience where like we're on the path, the sailboat is blowing in the direction we want. And we want that to come to feel normal. So what does a day look like that? Well, I'll just tell you. For many people, there's not a cookie cutter answer to it. There's not a one size fits all. But for many people, and I would come to say like eating 3 big meals in a day, that's like kind of a cultural normal. That's not a normal that I think has been really a big part of human history in the long term. That's, I think, an artifact of this incredible experience that we've had. Like we were talking the other day, the development of the Industrial Revolution, the incredible abundance that we have, just like an entire culture dedicated around growth and consumption. And it's like, let's like really step back and come back. Is this really normal? Is this the optimal path for a human being? For most people, I'll just tell you, most people do much better metabolically eating twice in a day than 3. As a general rule, the vast majority of adults do better. And that's simple fasting, right? Simple fasting is like, hey, just eat twice instead of 3. That's like a base layer. That's opening up a tiny bit of fasting space in a day. Can come to feel normal. Like I said, I've been doing a variation of that for a decade and love it. And many people find that. And so that You say by our cultural concept, say, oh, it's not normal to eat twice a day, except for occasions where people have the exception. Like it's normal. Some people sleep in and go out for brunch and then have dinner and won't give it a second thought. So then you bring it up. You say, well, isn't that normal? Oh, yeah, it's like I do that on Saturdays, And the experience come to feel normal. And then everything on a spectrum. Some people, of course, in a metabolic state, it's like they don't even need that much. That's what's so amazing about it. Some people don't even need to eat twice a day. Like some people, I've had the experience, most people who flip into eating twice a day, in my experience, have at least some maintenance of weight at that point, which, I love the quote, Wendell Berry, preservation is progress. Hey, can we just stabilize? Like, forget saving the world, forget like every good thing. Can we just like not make it worse for a little while, right? Like preservation is progress. Love that. And so, a fraction of people, what is the fraction? I don't know. We'll call it half. Get on a twice a day eating, experience slow, steady weight loss over time, like a little bit of weight loss every month. As people come in to consult with me, I say, what if you could like guarantee that you lost 1 pound in a month? How would you feel about that? A lot of people not excited about that because people, they want to lose a lot of weight right now. They're like, I want big weight loss before the holidays right now. It's like, well, there is a path to do that. But, here we are, 63 days out till 2026. It's not really a lot of time. You have to dial in very, very intensely to lose a lot of weight between now and the end of the year. For the right person, the right mindset, I wouldn't say you can't do it. And, we can certainly talk. How do you lose weight very fast? Can do it. We've got Carol and Pat are here. Hello, good morning. So nice to have you here. I hope you're doing so well. Okay, lose a lot of weight by the new year. I give you every good mindset to dial in to do it. But the real path that I'm trying to get people on is to like have a base layer that's sustainable and really feel solid on it. And for a lot of people, 2 meals in a day gonna help people get to that base layer. Most people don't gain weight eating twice a day, especially if you're doing your best to dial in on healthy eating, healthy food choices. Okay, tell me your experience. Harder to gain. It's at least harder. Okay, if you're saying, well, first we got to stop gaining weight before we can, start losing weight. It's much easier to gain weight eating 3 times in a day or more than 2 times. Sometimes people go to a nutritionist. Very common. Someone is trying to lose weight. They get a piece of advice. They say, "Oh, you need to add snacks." This is very common. You're eating 3 times a day. You might need a metabolic boost. We might need some snacks coming in. This is one of the most frustrating and counterintuitive pieces of advice that is given in medicine. I actually think it's one of the most harmful pieces of advice that's given in all of medicine, because one of the primary problems we have in our society is that people very much struggle to keep their weight in a good place, which is, of course, upstream of so many processes of our metabolism: blood pressure, cholesterol, heart disease, diabetes, liver disease, kidney disease, every type of orthopedic malady. So we want to get upstream of that. Telling people to eat more times in a day, so unhelpful. And so we want to run that whole piece of advice in reverse. Sometimes, I've given a lot of talks on fasting over the years, including to rooms full of doctors. I'll be in a room with 80 doctors. And, I remember when I presented my research from my research study, I was presenting it. I was, of course, optimistic. I say, oh, maybe people might like this. Maybe they say, hey, this is cool. You can really help some people with this. And the question that I got first, amazingly, was, it seems like fasting only works because it helps people to eat less. And I was like, is that an argument? Like, it's not exactly, this is what I say, it's not exactly easy to eat less. Have you noticed that? It's not easy to eat less. Most people struggle to do that. And so to have a practice, now I don't agree with it, mind you. Fasting is not only beneficial because it helps you to eat less, but that's a huge part of it. I mean, it is. Like, in order to lose weight, you have to eat less. This is not like, miraculous knowledge. Like, this is clear, right? This is why the advice to eat more times, add snacks to keep the metabolism going, is so unhelpful. You have to eat less to lose weight. People know this, right? And we've talked in previous talks, last fall especially, on the complex interactions between how many times we are eating and the frequency of food intake and our metabolism. It's dynamic. The big thing that so many people are missing, our metabolism is dynamic. It can shift and change in response to our eating. Okay, eating more times to boost the metabolism has only a very few times where it is like helpful, and only in the short term, and that happens to be the windows that people studying in a lot of nutrition studies. Anyway, we try to untangle that. So, but I tell people when they make this argument, they say fasting only works because it helps you to eat less. Like, hey, let's not argue, okay? Does it help or not help? That's the decision. If it helps you to eat less, because here's the thing, the reason that fasting can be hard, the reason that dieting and weight loss of any kind is hard is because we get hungry, right? So if people getting hungry, you say, why do people get hungry? And the answer to that is primarily based on patterns, because we're creatures of habit. I've gone through the whole talk here, this morning about what we experience as normal is based on our patterns and our history and our associations, right? And so anytime we start deviating from what we experience as normal, that's both a mental experience and a physical experience in the body. And those two are, we separate them out to think about them, but they're really the same, We're both a mental and a physical being at the same time. And so when we have physical experiences, primarily hormonal in the body, our hunger system controlled by hormones, our hormones very powerful, right? Controlling the body, controlling physiologic processes in the body, like acid production, GI motility, getting the stomach going. And so you have processes like that, physically, that we're feeling. So we interpret that as like, hey, you gotta eat, right? You gotta eat, like you're feeling it. But some people experience that at different times, right? It's very clear. It's based on our patterns, our habits. Then it comes to feel normal. Say, if I don't eat, then it feels abnormal, okay? So that's how it's feeding into the emotions of it. But when we are conscientious and thoughtful about it, we say, I'm going to change my patterns. And this is my long-winded explanation and answer, to people who make this a case. Doesn't fasting just help you because it helps you to eat less? Well, yeah, but look at the part of how it does it. When you're telling someone that it's okay to eat all the time and that they should eat all the time, you're creating patterns where it's just normal, people's normal experiences. I'm a person that eats all the time. And I was like, if you're a person who is eating all the time, like that's not a person who's really on a path to weight loss. As far as I can see, I don't know how people really get in that, mindset. It's like, but when you're a person who has gotten in a habit and routine, say, hey, I just eat twice in a day, actually. Like I eat at this time and I'm eating at this time. That's creating the environment, the context to help that to feel normal, right? That's what I'm saying. The normal path to weight loss, meaning it's feeling normal in our environment for our personal self to do the practices that are actually helping us take the steps down the path. If every day of our life is like a struggle where it feels abnormal, that's why it's so hard for people to stay on a track, to have something sustainable. Because, like we said in the talk the other day, we have limited mental capital. We can't spend our entire day willpowering our way through every type of, decision all the time. And then you say, okay, a standard, so you went to a nutritionist. They said, okay, you get your 3 meals plus 3 snacks. That's like 6 times in a day you got to be making the healthy choice instead of the more pleasurable, enjoyable choice, right? It's like you have to willpower through 6 times instead of 2, right? Do you see how we're simplifying that in a great degree? That can make it much easier. See, I never tell people, right? It's not saying fasting is easy, but like let's just think here, okay? Is it easier to make 2 healthy choices in a day or 6? This is the thing, like whoa, it's like a lot easier. So it's like we normalize and create the experience like, hey, I'm just somebody who's flowing through this space. I'm floating through this fasting space. I'm getting tons of other stuff done, like all the work I have to do. Or if you are fortunate enough, you say, I don't have so much work to do. I'm going to read my book. I'm going to take a walk. Like whatever your situation is in, you find a pleasant distraction to flow through that space. Start to normalize that. Like when that is the normal practice, then it get much easier to flow in. So some people, like I was saying then, 2 meals, at least stabilize, preserve, and is like a dial. You can dial up that fasting practice. Someone says, hey, I switched in to 2 meals a day. You see, I'm not really going anywhere. So maybe half of people would experience like, okay, I'm like losing weight slowly, and some people not happy to lose weight slowly, but I say, hey, if you can maintain that, if it's not stressful, if it's helping you to flow in the direction over time, look, 1 pound a month, if that was sustainable, it's like 12 pounds in a year, 24 by 2, 36. Okay, so even 1 pound in a month, which is absolutely as practical to experience, it's like that can take you to an incredible place in the long term, especially as we look over a 3-year period of time, where almost everybody who tries to lose weight over 3 years round trips the difficult reality, okay? But if you found a calm, centered space, a practice that wasn't too intense and it let you lose 1 pound in a month, and you were able to stick with that over a couple years, holy cow, very, very powerful. But then I say, okay, if you're in a space where you say, hey, it's normal, I'm not stressed out to eat twice in a day, it's like now we got that dial to work with. Someone else says, hey, I'm just going to dial in on processed foods. I'm going to dial up some exercise and just going to stick with twice a day eating. Never has to go beyond that. Someone else says, I'm not too keen on changing my diet any more than I have, like the types of foods, I like it. So it says, I'm doing the activity level I want. I need more power, right? I need to be able to lose weight so I can dial in on that fasting dial. Some people, the other half, whatever it is, like two meals in a day, just enough to keep the system stable. Whereas like, okay, we're not going in the wrong direction, but we're not powerfully moving in the direction we want either, right? That happens to people, okay? Close that gap of those 2 meals, a big spectrum. The closer you bring those 2 meals together, the bigger the fasting space on the other side. And that's the kind of counter argument, when I talk to some doctor about it or some nutritionist, to say, actually, the longer that we are spending without food, it isn't just eating less food. And there's studies, that have studied this. The longer fasting interval having hormonal effects on the body, helping really to drop our insulin level, which is controlling how much of this energy we're sending into the storage system, right? And so a big part, if you're trying to lose weight, you're wanting to pull energy out of the system. And, how do you do that? You run off of it, right? The energy is there to power the body. So instead of putting more food in, we're opening up space so that we can send the energy back out. That's a fasting space. That's the basic physiology of the body. You want to get that energy flowing back out. You want a stronger effect of that. You open up more space. Will you be eating less food? Yeah, it's a double bonus, a synergistic effect. More fasting space, more time without food. Is it less calories coming in? Well, for that time it is. And especially if you decrease the number of meals you're eating, then it absolutely would be. As you open up that more fasting space, really what you're doing, you're changing the hormonal structure of the body more than anything else, dropping the insulin level, cranking up the counter-regulatory hormones that nobody knows much about and have weird names like adiponectin, which is like fat-busting hormone, goes in and sucks the energy back out. Insulin jamming it in, so other hormones that we want suck the energy back out and release it so that the body can use it. 2 meals a day not getting you the effect you want. You've got an open invitation from the body. If you are easing into it slowly, feeling good, not having any trouble, move toward eating 1 meal in a day, right? And there's a whole spectrum. If you can't quite make it, don't force yourself. Never feel bad. Fasting should always feel like openness and like an exploration of the potential of the body, because the body has the potential to do it, is very strong, but you train yourself to do it, just like weightlifting. Body can become very strong by weightlifting, but you have to work at it. You train yourself up. You don't start with the huge weights or you pull a muscle, right? It's like you start doing some big fasting space you're not ready for. You feel overwhelmed. You say, oh, I didn't like that, right? That's why I want to be kind and gentle to ourselves. Give yourself the space to lean into it so that you create a good experience for yourself. This is what we want. We want it to feel like this is making life better. It's a space to rest, right? Fasting space, like a resting space for the body, doesn't mean you have to be physically resting. You can be very active, very productive in a fasting space. Like if I go out, I'm going to run a half marathon because I just trained for it. I don't eat breakfast before it now. I keep that whole system empty and I go run the whole thing, on the energy storage. My time's better when I do that. Like when I try to eat now before like a race, I just feel like, you just feel that lugging the food around with it. Not pleasant actually to really like exercise at an intense level now. I don't like it. I just prefer it. I've been working at this for a very long time, to get to that state. So just realize that's kind of the potential that is there. You can be very active, have all kinds of energy because, our short-term energy system, the sugar, right? That's fleeting, right? But our longer-term energy system, the body fat storage, so much energy there. And you are in a state where you've trained the body to release that huge energy on tap to be able to use to power your life. That's why I like to describe fasting as an empowering process. I want people empowered. I want people realizing the power that is present in the body. Like we take it for granted and we don't appreciate it. But like the energy in the storage, they say, I don't like this stuff. I want it gone. And I get that. I'm like trying to help people more than anything. Get rid of it, right? Lose the weight that you don't want, okay? But one of the paths, maybe this is a paradox, is like appreciate it and come to see it for what it is, power and energy. And it's an incredible resource. And when you come to see the body that way, that, hey, this is an incredible asset. You come to say, hey, this is like such a good thing. I mean, it is such a good thing. Can you find gratitude for it? That's like a super paradox, right? We take the anger and the frustration with a weight loss experience, turn it around into a gratitude and say, I'm thankful for my body, actually. There's so many times we're trying to lose weight. It's so frustrating. You get angry with a body. Why can't I control it, Why are the things I'm doing not working? Think what's happening in the body with a struggle like that. The anger is triggering the stress hormones, right? It's creating a chronic inflammatory state. That's part of that. Think of every counseling, every mental health path, right? Letting go of anger, letting go of the frustration, coming to accept reality. What happens when you accept something, right? See, I just do that with my hands. See, that's what is happening. It's calming everything down. And that calm state in the body, that is how we're getting in the direction we want. That's the direction of a flow state. That's the direction of the sailboat. It's like moving through a space without struggling, right? And this is what we want to get to. Get to a space where we accept and then appreciate the body. Appreciate the power and the ability it has. And as we are appreciating it, then we're getting in the mindset to actually use it, right? We use the resource of the body is how we get that energy flowing back out. This is how we untangle, solve the weight loss problem, right? Two ways to do that I'm working on right now. It's like these two books, I'm flowing back and forth between these two books, and I just feel like we're just like smashing them together. Something really analytical, really diving in kind of on a deeper intellectual level, understanding the way we think, the way the brain is working, right? With like something way out of the box, totally creative. It's like right and left brain, and smashing them together because really they're the same thing. And so that's what we want. A total, holistic, thoughtful, informed, comprehensive, creative experience. Creating our health experience. I am really enjoying this process, stepping through toward 2026 with you. Let me know thoughts that you have on these reflections. Today, the thinking, creating a normal weight loss experience for ourselves means normalizing these processes, using everything we're talking about, all the resources to create a thoughtful, supportive environment that is making it as easy as possible for us to charge up our mental capital, create the most incredibly powerful, positive attitude that is helping us power ourselves along our path. And I will continue to try my best to help you do it, give you the best insights that I can, and I have many others. I have a whole pile of books, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Let me know if you want to come on the program, have a chat live, or record a chat and put it on so we get to know each other a little better. Could be fun. I hope you have a beautiful day. Really nice to have you here. I will see you back here tomorrow to wrap up the week in a powerful way. And have a great day. Talk to you soon.